How do you break through certain situations, negative situations that you may be in? Maybe you're not happy with where you're at in your life. Maybe you're dealing with negative influences in your life, whether it's friends, family, relationships, etc. Or you're in a position where you're just not happy. How do you break through that unhappiness and become happy? The first thing is that you have to identify and picture what happiness will look like for you. The second is that you have to rely on God. And so Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5 says, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. So what does that mean? Obviously, we're going to go through tough times in our lives. And there's going to be times where we realize that we've depleted all of our own efforts. Our efforts are only going to get us so far. But when you rely on God and identify what it is that's going to change, or what that change is going to look like in your life, right? So let's say, for example, there's certain friends in your life, or there's certain relationships that you're dealing with, and it's just a habitual negative environment. How do you break through that? The first thing is that you have to, like I said, identify what the ideal environment is going to be like in order to put you in a better position. And in a better position, what I mean by that is something that's going to be led by the Bible, biblical principles and values. And so you have to map that out. The second is that you have to pray and rely on God to get you through whatever situation it is. So for example, when I transferred out of Syracuse playing football there to Lafayette College, when I made that decision to transfer, I was happy, because obviously I wasn't happy at Syracuse, and I thought the grass was going to be greener on the other side. And so in my mind, I mapped out what happiness would look like for me. And the grass is always going to look greener on the other side, but you truly have to vet and ask God to guide you in the right direction. And that's where I missed. I wasn't relying on God at that point in time. I was relying on myself. We had a new coaching staff come in, and I got playtime as a freshman, and my playtime was getting less and less as a sophomore, as I was producing more and more. And so in my mind, it got to a point that I wasn't going to play. I had a number of conversations with the coaches, and my end goal was to get to the NFL. And so at that point in time, again, without relying on God, I took a leap of my own faith to go to Lafayette College. And so there's two ways I can look at that. The first is that I didn't make it to the NFL, so I failed, right? And I was miserable while I was there, especially in the beginning. There was a number of things that were going wrong. School was struggling with. I thought I was going to fail out. And a number of other things. I wasn't playing well. I ended up getting double hip surgery and didn't play my senior season. On top of that, there was a number of other things that didn't go well. The second way to look at it is that God put me through the test when I went there. I thought I was in a bad position while I was at Syracuse, and ended up transferring. And at that point in time, while I was going through it, I thought I was in a worse position. Now looking back on it, hindsight's always going to be 2020. God put me through that situation to develop strength, right? It got to a point where I needed something other than myself, my own strength. And as a man, it's something weird to think about, that you can't rely on your own self to get through certain things. But looking back on it now, I realized that I did need God to get through it. And I was going through Bible study. I was, reading the Bible. And it wasn't until I've gotten older that I realized that there's going to be certain situations that God's going to put us in to test us, to test our strength, to test our perseverance. But again, it's all about the story, as I say, down here in the world. And so when you go through those certain times, those certain situations and hardships, coming out on the other side, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but using the strength that God is giving you to persevere, and to persevere is going to put you in a better position. So I hope you guys found value in that story. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. Really appreciate it for watching. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or feedback, drop it in the comments below. Thank you.